Welcome the chosen ones. Who told you that time was your enemy when it was really your costume? Let that marinate for a moment. Because chosen ones, there is a reason why you get that surprised look from people, as if they have just seen a glitch in the matrix. Why do they whisper about you like, it is illegal, or like you are having a secret spell? You look younger than you are. You are not as old as you act. And to be honest, you don't even feel like you're that old. And that's not an accident. It is by God's plan. Here's something to think about. There are 37.2 trillion cells in the human body, and all of yours have been through spiritual battles, pain, deep isolation, and betrayal. Most people would die, and yet you still shine, are still beautiful, are still upright, and are still standing. It's time to be honest. While your friends are whining about back pain, early wrinkles, and midlife crises, you look like you drank from the fountain of what the hell. Do they take care of their skin? Plot twist. It's called Holy Ghost upgrades, healing, and water. So let's do this. In this video, we are going to talk about why how you look and how old you are make people too shocked to speak, and why your very being is beginning to show these people everything they believed they understood about beauty, time, and God's protection. Get ready. This is more than just top level. You're about to learn that your image is doing more than just defying time. It's telling the truth about who you are. First, you were able to halt biological decay by spiritually aligning yourself. By focused on the outside, most people try to look young. Filters, gym habits, surgeries, and creams. They think that you can make someone look young by painting on or injecting things. But picked ones work in a different way. What you wear on your body doesn't make you young. It comes from what you let go through it. You focused on alignment while the world was concerned with how things looked. And that spiritual connection, it set your whole from the inside out. Your skin, your cells, and your energy aren't just getting by, they're vibrating at a higher level. That's why people don't understand. They see your face and try to figure out how much you weigh, but they can't make sense of the numbers. They're looking at someone who is really older, but looks like they're just hitting their prime. They think it doesn't make sense, and that's true. It has to do with religion. You are out of energy, into something that a lot of people think isn't even real, and the proof is your whole body, which is covered in evidence. You look good for your age, but that's not all. You look like life hasn't worn you down at all. Not because you haven't had a hard time, but because you got over it. You got better. You released. You didn't hide your evil. You faced it. The work you did inside made your body react. Now we are safe. And your body reacted by healing itself instead of breaking down what they actually are. Seeing is what happens when a soul decides to be in harmony rather than in agreement. That glow is not common. Not because it's out of reach, but because so few people really get there. A lot of people get burned out trying to impress others. You looked inside yourself and became a container for truth, peace, and divinely perfect time. That's the reason you don't get as old as they do. You're not getting older on earth. You are getting older on a sacred schedule that doesn't take away time but adds meaning to your life. That kind of beauty never gets wrinkles, die, or fade. It changes over time. Number 2, you learned how to change the way you feel. That's why you don't let your past pain show on your face. Most people show their pain on their face, even if they don't mean to. You can tell by their walk, their eye contact, or lack of it, and the way their skin has tightened over the years from holding in anger, sadness, and betrayal. Trauma isn't only mental, it becomes deeply fixed in the body. But you, the chosen one, stopped that from happening. You experienced the of pain that should have created scars that would not go away. You were told lies, used and left behind, and in some cases you were totally destroyed. But you didn't hold on to that pain. You changed it. You turned it into gold. And that's why you shouldn't wear it. You worked through your feelings instead of hiding them away while others stayed angry. You faced them head on. You cried in private. You screamed, but no sound came out. You prayed with every part of yourself. You were saved by that kind of honesty about your feelings, which is not something people do very often. In place of hardening, you became weaker when you relaxed, but with power. You were honest with yourself. And that realness reset your nerve system, your skin, your face, and your being. It is peaceful, not just pretty. That's what's confusing people. People are used to seeing anger mixed with age, but they see truth when they look at you. They see a peaceful world, and because they've never seen a person of your age be so mentally light, they don't know how to handle it. They think there will be damage. They think that stress is going to happen. Lines, but you put in the effort to change inside. The things you let go of are what make you glow, not the things you hold on to. You might have gotten cold, you could have pushed everyone away, but you chose to keep your heart open without letting anyone hurt it. That decision did more than just save your soul. It changed the way your body works. That's why you don't look like what you've been through. You learned from your pain. Now, just being here says a lot. You didn't get older during this time. Traumatic injury. You went beyond it. 3. You stopped time when you stopped doing things for the matrix. Most people get old quickly because they are always working for systems that were never meant to make them happy. Each day they wake up hoping to meet society's standards, rushing to impress, fit in and stay alive. But you, the chosen one, did something that most people are too scared to do. You no longer perform. You were Matrix unplugged. You quit trying to win over the likes of a world that is obsessed with how things look and having a fixation on noise. And that made something crazy happen. Time isn't aging you the same way it used to anymore. You weren't being yourself, and that's why you lost your energy. The energy that had you always in survival mode was coming back to you. You didn't have to deal with fake relationships, useless competition, or being compared to others anymore, so you had more energy. The peace you worked so hard to protect wasn't good for just your mind. It started to fix up your body, while others were exhausting themselves. You chose clarity, truth, and being alone in order to be accepted. That choice actually made the process of getting older take more time. You weren't caught in the social climbing, overachieving and trend-chasing loops that wear the spirit down. You let go of what the world thinks of as success and decided to be true to yourself instead of trying to impress others. And so, your face looks like you've had enough sleep. Your skin looks relaxed. You don't make me feel rushed. People can't quite figure it out, but you feel like the worry they think is normal. You don't let them see how much it costs you to keep the peace by being alone, unwelcome, and starting over. But now, the outcome of that effort is clear. You're not getting old like they are because you don't have what they have. You don't have to keep doing the same thing. You don't have the same schedule. You have gotten back your time, energy, and sense of self. And it's clear from looking at you. While others got tired from acting, you tapped into something heavenly just by existing. That's why they are shocked to see you. You didn't play by their rules, and you don't look like you did. Number 4, they thought age would make you go down, but it's your rise entrance. They thought that over time, your glow would go away. Like many people who peak early and then fade away, they thought you would lose confidence, fail, and become irrelevant without a fight. That's how most people are expected to act. You, be bright in your 20s, start to fade in your 30s, and go away in your 40s, and later. But you, the chosen one, broke that story into pieces. You became more of a threat as you got older, not because you put in more effort, but because you gave up completely. You don't need other people to tell you you're okay anymore. You no longer make yourself smaller to fit in. And that inner freedom began to spread. You had a different stance. Your voice really did get deeper. You were harder to ignore, but in a way that demands attention without having to ask for it. You found yourself. You don't say sorry anymore. And with each passing year, you didn't fall apart, you succeeded. They didn't know that you were never at your best when you were young. It was only the plan. You weren't made to fade. You are meant to grow. Now, as you walk in, they think they're seeing your decline, but in reality, they're seeing the big event. That confident, graceful glow. It wasn't the result of goods or praise. It came from surviving, healing, and knowing your worth without anyone else having to agree with you. They can't figure out how someone who has experienced so much can still look so powerful, calm, and attractive. But that's what it's all about. You haven't gotten any older. You went up. You revealed new amounts of beauty, intelligence, and energy that aren't found in young people. They only show up after the fire, after being turned down, and after being reborn. You were supposed to do more than just get older. You were meant to be, and you look heavenly, not just beautiful now that you're here. You didn't just save yourself, you revived number 5. Most people believe that slowing down the aging process is the best thing you can do. You could try keeping what you have and hoping for the best, but you, the chosen one, didn't just hang on. You fixed everything that was broken. You didn't keep yourself like a frozen past version of yourself. You completely rebuilt yourself. That's the part that is confusing people. They knew that things would get used and old. They thought you would look worn out and tired after those storms, but you instead came out looking like you had been improved, as if time had repaid you with interest. And here is the truth they will never get. The skincare wasn't the problem. It was not the fitness center. Those weren't good genes. It was being alone. Those long, quiet seasons were hard. You were cut off from everything and everyone and didn't know if God had forgotten about you. As they ran away from, you were buried in calmness. And it nearly did break you. But it wasn't. It improved you. It woke up parts of your soul that had been sleeping. You didn't only heal your emotions. You caused deep cellular renewal by spiritually aligning yourself. Stress makes people weak. Their energy is weakened by self-abandonment. But you decided to cut yourself off from everyone else. And rather than letting it make you angry, you let it make you holy. You went inside yourself and found your strength. You got back in touch with Source. Tore down all the fake masks you had to wear and changed how much you thought you were worth. That process was not nice. There was a lot of loneliness. It was silent, but it was holy, and your body knew it. You were glowing when you came back from being alone. Not only did they become emotionally stronger, but their bodies also changed. You aren't just attractive. You look like you weren't affected by the chaos you went through. That's how healing looks. Not a return to your old self, but a change into the person you were meant to be. While others broke, you were quietly being changed as you were under pressure. Now, your appearance does all the talking. You are not just living in the present. You are changing the past. You don't let anger take over, which is clear number 6. Being bitter makes you older than you really are. It's in their eyes. The boredom, the weightiness, and the way their face shows that they hold grudges and see this as a core part of who they are. Bitterness slowly sets in, making the heart stiff and the body tense. It also leaves its mark the skin. You knew it was devouring them from the inside out, but most people don't. And that's what makes you unique. You had no good reasons for keeping it out. You were hurt by people who betrayed you, left you, lied to you, and tried to break you. And if you had become cold, no one would have said anything bad about it. But you didn't do it. You said no. You chose to protect your soul no matter what. Not for them, for you. You knew deep down that holding a grudge would hurt you more than anything they did to you. You did not wish to have an open wound all the time. You didn't want to become old and bitter, pretending to be happy while actually being angry. You let it go then, not because it was easy, but because it had to be done. You made a good choice that cleaned up your spirit. The body mirrors the spirit, so when the spirit is clean, the body is too. That's why you really are not old-looking. You seem thin. You aren't carrying that weight in your eyes, jaw, or shoulders. You look peaceful. Not because life was fair, but because you wouldn't allow it. life kill you. You learned that giving up can be powerful, that you should guard your energy, and that you should pick happiness, not because it was given to you, but because you earned it. That's not how people expect forgiveness to look. They see it as a weakness, but they see something godly in you. They see a calm kind of power that can't be faked. They don't know that your inner peace came with a cost, that your glow comes from spiritual practice, or that the most powerful choice you ever made was to not be bitter. You have not fed bugs in number 7. This is the reason you look so different now. You would randomly get tired while walking. Not just tired, but drained, as if someone was stealing your energy without you knowing. And that was because you were around people who didn't learn to love you. They came to feed on you. They needed your love and support, and to be available to them all the time. They weren't trying to grow alongside you. They were using you to stay alive. And for a long time, not because you are weak, but because you are loyal and kind, you believed it was love, but it was really leaking. Then, the moment that changed it all happened. You severed the line. Your body felt enough before your mind did. You had a better night's sleep. Your face became softer. You got your glow back. Because those energy bugs were not only playing with your spirit, they were slowly sapping your energy and strength. Your nerve system was always working too hard to try to sense their moods, bring order to their chaos, or avoid upsetting them. That kind of stress makes people older quickly. But when you let go, your whole system breathed out for the first time in years, and there was no doubt about the result. You began to look like yourself again. So, not the you that was giving too much and saving people who didn't want to change. Your skin was better. Your eyes got better. You weren't alive anymore. You were getting back what was yours, since when you quit giving food to other people's monsters. You finally had the strength to feed your own soul. That's why you don't look the same now. That's why people are surprised when they see you. You are no longer being used. You have your energy back, and it's clear. Now, those people who used to feed off you are curious about what happened to make you so glowing, rested, and attractive. The truth is, you didn't just change who you hung out with, you shut down the menu. Number 8, you got your true self back, and your body followed suit. Living a dishonest life doesn't just mess up your head, it changes your whole self. And for a long time, you were carrying names that were never really yours. The child who does what they're told, the person who needs everyone to like them, the person who does more than is expected, the person who fixes things, and the quiet one. Roles you had to take on, or thought you had to take on to stay alive. But there was a price to pay for those jobs. You knew something wasn't right with your body. It became tense. It got dimmer on its own. It was heavy with the weight of make-believe. And even if you looked good on the outside, something always felt wrong inside, as if your mirror image wasn't giving the full picture. That's because it was someone else. Then something in me snapped or clicked. You got worn out from bending, faking happiness and being safe and likable. And slowly you began to take off the layers. You doubted those lines. You got back your voice, your feelings, your sex, your society, and your truth. And with each layer of fake identity that began to appear, and what was once good faded away. Your body noticed what you did. You had a different stance. The way you walk changed. You got this amazing glow that showed you knew exactly who you were. Alignment began to show on your skin. You had more influence. You weren't acting anymore, so your energy changed. You were representing. An embodiment isn't just visually pleasing, it shines. That's why you look like a person who has been born again, since you, in a lot of ways, are. You let go of the weight you were carrying when you told the lie. You no longer feel shame that doesn't belong to you. You don't bend yourself into awkward positions to fit in anymore. Now you look like you weigh less and have more energy, not because you changed yourself, but because you went back to being the person you were meant to be. The glow that everyone keeps going on about. Not skincare. That's true. You walked through fire, number 9, and didn't smell like smoke afterward. You have people looking at you now and wondering what your secret is. How do you walk with such calmness, beauty, and unyielding self-assurance? no matter what happened to you. They know what you've been through, all the stories and the fire you had to face. But when they look at you, all they see is light. You have no scars or bad feelings, and there is no evidence that you were ever burned. They think it doesn't make sense. They thought you would be burned, marked and made tough, but you came out with a glow that makes them doubt everything they knew about surviving. What they don't get is not only that you lived through it, but that you went above and beyond. While others break under pressure and turn sour and tired because of life's problems, you came out of them intact. It was skill, not luck. It was planned. It was holy protection. You were safe. The fire that other people were afraid of and would have let burn them up became the furnace that formed, strengthened, and purified you. Each test, each act of betrayal, and each broken heart made her stronger instead of weaker. The hurt didn't end. Your soul, it made it clearer, and since you were able to walk through the fire without losing anything important, you don't have the same baggage that others have. No resentment, no rage, and no playing the victim. Those are the things that people can't get rid of. And they make people older faster than any wrinkle could. But you wouldn't let it happen. You weren't burned up by the fire. You let it burn away all the things that weren't really you. You are now able to walk through the world unbothered and invincible, plus more. More radiant than she has ever been. People are still trying to figure out how you come out of everything so unscathed, but you know the truth. You weren't destroyed by the fire. It was what got you ready to shine. 10. You were hidden for a while so you could get older without being affected. While everyone else was in a hurry to be famous and get attention, you were put into a peaceful area where you could grow and no one could bother you. It was beyond people's sight and comprehension. Now, you seemed like you weren't even there, and you weren't important or missed. But they didn't know that you were being saved from the early exposure that so many people get. While others were thrown into poisonous relationships, quickly rose to fame, or were thrown into a world that eats up the unready, you were being carefully nurtured like a rare plant in a secret garden. It wasn't punishment to be alone for that long. It was God's way of protecting me. As the world moved at its disordered pace, you were developing. You had plenty of time. You didn't have to follow someone else's schedule. You had the chance to grow and build a strong base before the audience came to see you. And when you finally came out of that cage, everyone was shocked. It wasn't just that you looked different. You looked like nothing had happened to you. You looked like you had been through the fire but hadn't been hurt at all. What they don't know is that all those years of hiding from the limelight, all those times you weren't noticed, were the things that kept your beauty, mind, and spirit safe. While others had already been worn down by exposure, dealing with the pressures of fame or toxic relationships, you became stronger, smarter, and more radiant while you were alone. You weren't exposed to the dishonesty that comes with getting successful early in life, making you lose faith in life. You had the time and space to grow into your most powerful self without any distractions of the earth. Now that you are back, they don't know what to do with you. They have no idea how you returned looking stronger and younger and with more charm. The truth is that you didn't get any older. You are now a higher level. The care you got was the best gift of all. Now, as you show them what real, undisturbed progress looks like, they are watching you in confusion. 11. You broke the rules of society, and it kept your spirit safe. You could have done what everyone else did. You might have given. You feel like you have to chase after young people to keep up with everyone else all the time, trying to show your worth by what you own, how you look, or who you spend time with. But you didn't do it. You took a step back while everyone else was concerned with getting short-lived pleasures, shallow status, and constant distractions. You aren't chasing after other people's approval, the latest trends, or other fake signs of success that only leave people tired and unhappy. You didn't honor being young, the way that was expected of you. You didn't let your worth be decided by looks or short periods of fame. You weren't at every party or following every trend to get liked by people who don't care about you. You weren't after the next big thing just because it was popular. You chose to focus on what was important instead. You spent your energy on things that made you happy, helped you grow, and calmed you down. You made the effort to connect deeply, heal, and grow. Of course, you saved something deeper, your true self, by going outside of the usual story. While everyone else was exhausted from trying to keep up, you were protecting your spirit. The world offered us beautiful things, but all it gave us was exhaustion. It looked like it would give you freedom, but it made you tired. You knew what was really going on. You weren't rebelling against something as shallow as fame or fashion. It was a fight to keep from losing yourself. And that decision didn't only save your time, it saved your soul's newness. You are proof of the power of living outside of traditional expectations, while others are exhausted and stuck in cycles of comparison and shallow pursuits. You are new. You are complete. You still know what's true for you. And you look just as young as you did when you decided to put yourself first and ignore everything else. You being disobedient wasn't just an act of defiance. You could have stayed young forever with that. 12. You aged with awareness, not with time. During a lot of people are focused on looking good by following trends and doing other things that make them look young. Your path has been completely different. You didn't get older in real life. You aged on purpose because you knew what you were doing. While others were concerned with not moving and holding on to their youth like it was something special, you let time change you in the most beautiful way. You let it change who you are. Every year was more than just for you. It was another step in the journey of awareness. You didn't just add to the number of years you've lived. You gained knowledge. You became a better person with each problem you faced, each heartbreak, and each lesson you learned. You didn't grow at a steady rate. It wasn't only about survival, it was about growing. With each year that went by, I became more clear-headed, peaceful, and self-aware. You had a unique perspective on life. You really did what you were supposed to do. You changed with every event, opening up more parts of your true self. That's why you look different from the rest. While your friends are getting older in the usual way, stuck in the cycle of buying things and always looking for outside solutions to their inside problems, you got older by rising above. You didn't just get older, you also got smarter, more complete, and more in touch with your true self. The depth you've gained is shown in your energy, presence, and vibe. When you're around, people can feel it. That calmness, that understanding, that feeling of peace and certainty that you get when your soul is in harmony. And so you don't just look young in the way that society says you should. You look like you're full of life, and you look bright and glowing in a way that goes beyond the physical. You've learned that true youthfulness comes from within, so you don't fear or try to fight getting older like others do. It's about being aware of how you live, not about when you were born. And that's why you don't sit out. 13. You don't look that age because you haven't lived it. For years you had to always be on guard. Not everyone has the freedom to live however they want. You were too busy carrying the weight of other people's needs, protecting yourself from harm, or trying to get approval that you never really should have wanted. You were always behind and just trying to get by, never given the chance to rest, unwind, or just exist. Hour went by, yes, but not in the way that it should have for you. You didn't have the same carefree times as other people, and you didn't have the freedom to grow and live your life without always having to fight. You weren't able to live free and without any worries like your friends. No, you were too busy protecting yourself, keeping others together, and pushing through to get by. And so things didn't go exactly how you wanted them to in life. It wasn't the smooth trip, that, and exploration. It was more like running a race while carrying heavy weights. But now, God is giving you back what you lost. You are getting back in ways you never thought possible those years when you weren't happy, free, and true to yourself. People thought you were wasting time, but now it's clear on your face in the most natural and beautiful way. The years didn't reveal any sorrow or signs of being weighed down. They've come with energy, peace, and a clear mind, the heaviness that you The burden you once held affected your mind and body, but now they are free and light, and you look beautiful because you have left the past behind. You have gotten back your true self. You have stopped acting to stay alive, and you live for yourself now. Time is no longer a sign of your difficulties. They show how strong and resilient you are and how you have been born again. You look fine. You haven't been through the fire. You look like you have blossomed because of it. The you are full of energy, joy and freedom that was taken away from you for too long. And that's how come you look like you haven't aged at all, because the years in which you were not free have now come back as a bright gift. 14. Your body's a reflection of your timeless soul. You've always known that there was more to you than what people could see. While the world sees age as a ticking clock, a slow process of certain breakdown, you've been using into something much deeper, an eternity that isn't bound by the laws of nature. Since your mind doesn't work on a set schedule, your body doesn't show the typical signs of aging. You've opened up a link to something that is permanent and exists outside of time and space. The truth is, your soul stays the same. It won't shrink, fade, or wrinkle over time. It only gets bigger and deeper and changes in ways the world can't fully understand. That's the reason you don't look as old as you are. You aren't really outsmarting time like most people think. You've gone beyond it. You've moved to a place where time and looks don't matter. This spiritual truth is reflected in the way you walk, the energy you project, and the clarity of your eyes. You aren't affected by time, and people sense it when they are near you. It's like you come from another world, not affected by the same things that make other people older and more tired. You aren't following the rules of physical decay. You've risen to a level where those rules don't even apply to you. The natural outcome of your deep spiritual link is what they see as a miracle. As time goes by, the core of your soul is not changed. That's the reason you don't look how they want you to. You've connected with something beyond this physical world. Your body is just a container for your timeless and infinite spirit, and it displays. The secret isn't in the real, so people can't figure it out. When you are honest, your brightness comes from within, and that source is unlimited, unchanging and outside of time. In the end, how you look isn't the only thing that makes you different. It's the depth, the insight, and the unmeasurable power that come from who you really are. The fact that you are ageless isn't a mistake, and it isn't just a temporary win against the passing of time. It's proof of the work you've done. Inside you, the fights you have lost, the lessons you have learned, and the spiritual path you have taken. You found something much better than what the world is after. Short-lived praise from others and the chance to stay young, which they treat like a prized possession. An eternal spirit, a bright force that gets stronger as time goes on. You've dealt with the hard times, the difficult moments, and the loneliness, and each event has made you better instead of weakening you. You are beautiful inside and out. It's what you get after a good life, with a heart that won't give up or turn bitter. Others see a youthful glow, but it's really the mirror of your inner peace, how clear your mind is, and your strong belief that life isn't about fighting against time. It's about being open to what you can learn from it and letting it change you for the better. People who are amazed by how you have managed to defy the rules of aging should know that the secret isn't in avoiding time. It's in going beyond it. You are now a living, breathing example of what can happen when you let your soul grow, when you put feeding your spirit first instead of worrying about the needs of the material world. And by doing that, you've revealed a lasting kind of beauty, the type that only deepens and gets better with age. This is the truth for you. Here is your present. The world might never get the whole picture, but that's fine. You aren't here to meet their standards. You are here to show them what can be done. When you decide to grow, to rise, and to live with a soul that won't die. If this message spoke to you and made you feel like you were timeless, share it with others. Subscribing to the station will allow you to see more videos that remind you of how valuable you are and how much you can achieve. If you felt powerful, hit the like button and leave a comment below. I'd love to know what you think and what you've been through. I promise, share this with someone who needs to hear this truth. Someone is waiting to hear that their soul, like yours, is forever. Let's keep sharing the light, the knowledge, and the energy that never gets old. Continue to shine. May God bless you.